Good morning. Welcome to Morning Special. 여러분 안녕하세요. 9월 30일 월요일 최수진의 Morning Special입니다. There are many ways of bringing us closer to other cultures. We can visit, browse, or simply read about them. But in this day and age, nothing says global community like seeing your own culture being displayed and enjoyed in a different country. 올해는 프랑스에 한국 사람이 이주한 지 100년이 되는 해입니다. 이를 기념하여 지난 28일 토요일이죠. 프랑스 한인회와 프랑스 파리 15구가 코리안 페스티벌을 공동 개최했다고 하는데요. 전통 혼례, 전통 무용, 줄타기 공연 등 파리 시민들은 한국 교민들과 한데 어울려 한국 줄타기 공연의 스릴과 떡볶이, 어묵 등 다양한 한국의 간식거리를 즐겼다고 합니다. 한편 축제가 열린 파리 서쪽의 15구는 한국인 5천여 명이 거주하고 한국 음식들이 몰려있어 프랑스의 코리아타운으로 불리고 있다고 하네요. Hopefully, we'll be able to see more of these events taking place around the world. Well, with that in mind, let me give you today's quiz question. The relationship between two countries can also be referred to as bilateral something. 1번 bilateral ties, 2번 bilateral BFFs. 다시 한번요. bilateral 1번 ties, 2번 BFFs 중에서 골라주시면 되겠습니다. 오늘도 청취자 여러분의 많은 참여 기다리고 있어요. 퀴즈 정답 보내주신 분들 중에 추첨을 통해서 총 5분께 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. 여러분의 소식과 소감 그리고 방송 중 궁금한 질문 있으시면 보내주세요. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045고요. 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 무료로 이용 가능합니다. Alright, let's kick off today's show with today's global headlines. 세계 각국 언론사들의 어떤 헤드라인이 올라왔는지 살펴보는 시간입니다. Touch Global Headlines.
Typhoon Mitag is likely to pass through waters west of Jeju Island on Wednesday before moving north to waters off South Jeolla Province at night.
제18호 태풍 미탁이 2일 낮 제주도 서쪽 해상을 지나 밤에는 전남 해안에 상륙할 전망입니다.
A heavy round of monsoon downpours has flooded wide areas of northern India, killing dozens of people in the past week.
인도 북부에서 지난주부터 폭우가 쏟아지면서 수십 명이 목숨을 잃었습니다.
A constitutional committee tasked with ending the Syrian war will meet in Geneva, Switzerland on October 30th.
시리아 내전 종식을 위한 시리아 헌법위원회가 다음 달 30일 스위스 제네바에서 개최됩니다.
The brother of a Pakistani social media personality who confessed to her strangling death as an honor killing has been sentenced to life in prison.
파키스탄에서 SNS 스타인 여동생을 명예살인한 오빠가 종신형을 선고받았습니다.
Korean baseball player Ryu Hyun-jin has become the first Asian player to finish a season with a 2.32 ERA.
류현진 선수가 아시아 투수 최초로 평균 자책점 1위라는 새 역사를 썼습니다. And for the headlines and much more, I'm joined by Steve Hatherley. Good morning, Steve.
Good Monday morning,
yes,
everybody.
It's the last day of the month.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe it? Tomorrow we stop saying September and we start saying October. October 1st tomorrow.
Wow, I know. Time flies.
It certainly does. And then it's Halloween. And then it's
right.
Christmas. And then it's New Year's Eve.
Unbelievable.
And then it's 2020.
What?
Only 4 months away. Hard to believe, right?
Yeah.
I like what you were talking about in the opening today about global communities and seeing our own culture on display and seeing other cultures on display. I did a TED Talk a few years ago.
Oh, did you?
TEDx Seoul. It was one of those events. And that's what I was talking about. I think that in the future, as we move forward as a global community, I think it's important that we start teaching our children about the similarities that we share with other people from other cultures from around the world, because we're all human beings. But it seems to me that, here in Korea and in Canada and America and other countries around the world, when we open up textbooks in school, we always talk about how different we are from other people.
Right.
Oh, look, this is the culture in France. Look how different it is. But I would like to see a future where we say, look how similar it is. These are the similarities that we share.
Yeah, I mean, there is a fine line between learning how similar different cultures are and also keeping your own identity, but you can do both at the same time.
Exactly, because we're all human beings at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did you?
Yeah, I saw the movie. I said I was going to go to a movie, right?
Which one did you see?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, was it good?
It is very good. Now, it's not a family film. Don't bring your kids to this. I don't think you'd be allowed.
It's R-rated.
Yeah. But if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, which I am, then I think you'll really enjoy the film. It's really cool. It's long. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, close to 3 hours. I was going to watch it and then I realized, it's too long.
It didn't feel like that long, though.
Okay, that's good.
If that's a compliment for the film. But yeah.
Always an indication that a movie's good if it doesn't feel that long.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Brad Pitt's okay. He's okay. But Leonardo DiCaprio, I think I texted Paul last night and I said Leonardo DiCaprio has mastered the art of acting.
Wow.
I think he'll be nominated
for an Oscar.
He deserves to win. I don't know the other films, of course, just yet, but he's amazing in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really good.
I think Brad Pitt's in 2 movies that are out at the moment right now.
Ad Astra is the other one, right? About
yeah.
space. Yeah, this is an homage to Hollywood, and there's a lot of hidden things in the film. So it's fun to look up articles after you watch it and learn about those things. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's fun.
Oh, okay.
Lots of cameos too. Lots,
really?
Lots and lots and lots.
I'll have to go and check that one out.
Yeah, if you have 2 hours and 40 minutes.
What genre of movie is it?
What would you call it? A drama action movie, I guess.
All right.
Yeah. It's good.
Does it get violent?
It does. It's Tarantino. It's Tarantino.
Well, yes, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, but it doesn't get violent until a certain way into the movie. A large portion of the movie passes. So maybe that might be okay for you then. Yeah.
Right. I was actually going to watch yesterday the Beatles related movie. But I didn't. I was going to, but that's sort of my movie. Those musicals, sappy, romantic comedies.
I would say that you can wait for, if you don't want to go to the theater to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's okay. But Yesterday is probably one of the movies that you should see in the theater, just because there's so much music, so you get to enjoy that loud.
The big speakers.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, lots of good movies to see these days,
Absolutely. Let us know if you watched a movie during the weekend. 진은경님이요. 좋은 아침입니다 하셨고요. 전수경님, good morning. 안녕하세요. 최수진쌤, 스티브쌤 보내주셨습니다.
Good morning.
Good morning. 끝번호 5982 쓰시는 분이요. 한 주 활기차게 시작해요. 근데 차가 너무 막혀요. 3일만이라면 쉰다. 김미영입니다. 라고 이러셨어요. Yeah, just 3 more days of work and then most people get the day off.
There's a holiday this week.
There is a holiday this week.
Us in the media industry, we don't pay attention to the red days on the calendar.
They don't mean anything to us, but we will be going out live. But to all of the listeners out there who get the day off, good for you.
Good.
최기현님, 이제는 스티브쌤이 한국 사람처럼 보여요.
Oh, really?
한국 사람이 영어 엄청 잘하는 것 같아요.
That's funny.
Yeah, your English is very good,
Thank
선생님.
you. 감사합니다. 열심히 공부했습니다.
네. All right, keep sending in your messages. If you'd like to listen to the headlines in the meantime, you can do so by visiting our website. 모닝 스페셜 홈페이지에 들어가셔서요. 조금 전에 읽어드린 헤드라인 무료로 다시 들으실 수 있습니다. Let's go over those stories.
Headline number 1, Typhoon Mitag is likely to pass through waters west of Jeju Island on Wednesday before moving north to waters off South Jeolla Province at night.
제18호 태풍 미탁이 2일 낮 제주도 서쪽 해상을 지나 밤에는 전남 해안에 상륙할 전망입니다.
Yeah, we are really down south getting hit with a lot of typhoons this season, right? So this is going to be the 18th typhoon for this region. for this year. 6 have directly passed through Korea. And this will be number 7, right? Or this will be the most since 1959 when 7 passed through at that time.
아하, 한 해에 이렇게 태풍이 7차례 우리나라를 관통한 것이 1959년 이후 60년 만이라고 합니다. So, Mitag, it's going to affect the southern regions. Where specifically?
It is, and we talked about the last typhoon that came through. The trajectory of it was it looked like it was going between Jeju and the southern parts of the mainland.
Yeah.
This looks very similar, although it's a little bit closer to the mainland, so I think you're going to see some more inland regions be affected by that.
네. 이번에 태풍 미탁의 경우에는 제주도, 전남, 그리고 이제 경남을 관통해서 2일, 그리고 공휴일인 3일에도 많은 비를 쏟을 것으로 그렇게 예상을 하고 있습니다. I think we're expecting about 600 millimeters of rain in some parts of Jeju.
Yeah, a lot of rain.
Yeah.
And again, it seems like we're issuing these warnings once a week now. But once again,
Yes.
please do be careful. Wednesday and Thursday, I think, are supposed to be the days that are the worst, right?
Luckily, as we said earlier on, Thursday will be a day off for most people. Please do stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, stay inside if you have the option, right?
Absolutely. And staying with a weather-related story, let's go on to headline number 2.
A heavy round of monsoon downpours has flooded wide areas of northern India, killing dozens of people in the past week.
인도 북부에서 지난주부터 폭우가 쏟아지면서 수십 명이 목숨을 잃었습니다.
Right, so these are monsoon rains that have led to deadly floods across areas of the Uttar Pradesh state. So there was a spokeswoman for the Disaster Management and Relief Department. Her name was Sandhya Kareel, and she said that most of the 59 fatalities were caused by house collapses. There was a lot of lightning. That was part of the problem too, drownings. And also, 5 people died of snake bites in the flooded areas because when you have flooded streets and areas of your homes are flooded, you really don't know what is in the water, do you?
Right. 지난 26일부터 인도에서 이제 폭우 그리고 또 강풍이 몰아치면서요. 지금까지 오늘 아침 보도를 보니까 현지 보도 매체에 따르면은 최소 80명이 숨졌다고 이렇게 발표가 됐습니다. 그래서 지금 당국에서는 적색 경보를 발동했다고 해요. Now we're seeing these numbers go up. Last night it was 60. This morning it's 80. So, they could keep going up. We're not sure as of yet, what the final count is.
Lots of people displaced as well.
Yeah.
In Maharashtra, that was hit by heavy rain, and nearly 3,000 people they were moved to higher ground. But 350 people have been killed in India, Nepal, and Bangladesh in this monsoon season. It typically runs from June through September, and normally the monsoon season in North India recedes by the beginning of September, but the average rainfall this month is 37% higher than normal.
Oh dear. 네, 지금까지 이 인도에서만 대피한 인구가 3,000명 정도가 된다고 하고요. 인도와 네팔, 방글라데시까지 합치면은 지금 사망자가 350명 이상이 된다고 합니다. 이렇게 남아시아에서는 보통 6월에서 9월 사이에 몬순 시즌이라고 하는 장마가 오는데 보통은 1년에 1,000명 가까이 사망을 한다라는 통계까지 있습니다. 더 이상의 인명피해는 없었으면 좋겠습니다. Let's go on to our next headline.
A constitutional committee tasked with ending the Syrian war will meet in Geneva, Switzerland on October 30th.
시리아 내전 종식을 위한 시리아 헌법위원회가 다음 달 30일 스위스 지니바에서 개최됩니다.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he was talking on Monday in an announcement of the formation of a body to write a new constitution for Syria. This is 8 years, more than 8 years of war that have devastated that country and its people. Millions and millions of people have left Syria. So this is massive news for the country.
And it's actually a really complicated issue that we won't delve into too much today, but it's been going on for such a long time, and so many different parties, different states have been involved, and yet there's not been one unified voice or one sort of regulation or regulatory body to govern this. hopefully this time around the UN will do that.
Yeah, well, this is an agreement of the government of the Syrian Arab Republic and the Syrian Negotiations Commission. That is going to be happening at the end of October, and it will be a 150-member constitutional committee. And according to Guterres, he said that it is a very well-balanced committee. They're trying to have everyone that they possibly can be represented there.
Right, I think that was the sticking point in the past, who was going to be on that board. And now they've finally agreed on the members, and so they will go ahead with some sort of discussion now.
Absolutely huge news. And as I mentioned, millions of people forced out of Syria. 5 million is that exact number. More than 5 million, as a matter of fact. Neighboring countries like Turkey and Lebanon and Jordan have absorbed most of the refugees, about 1 million seeking asylum in Europe. And we talked about, too, that, I think it was in the news in the last week where we were talking about refugees returning to the country. And if they can get this sorted, then we may see a mass influx of people who used to be living in Syria coming back home.
네, 벌써 8년째 이어지고 있는 시리아 내전 문제를 이제 종식시키기 위해서 시리아 헌법위원회를 구성하게 됐다라고 유엔이 발표를 했습니다. 그동안에는 이 구성원을 가지고 많은 이견들이 있었는데요. 이번에 드디어 150명의 위원이 확정됐다고 합니다. 그중에 이제 50명은 시리아 정부가 임명을 하고요. 그다음에 UN 그리고 야권에서 각각 또 50명씩 해서 총 150명의 위원이 결성이 됐다고 하고 hopefully within the next few weeks they will hold their first discussions.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go on to our next story.
The brother of a Pakistani social media personality who confessed to her strangling death as an honor killing has been sentenced to life in prison.
파키스탄에서 소셜미디어 스타인 여동생을 소위 명예살인한 오빠가 종신형을 선고받았습니다.
This is a really fascinating story, and I don't mean fascinating in a positive sense at all. Kandil Baloch was her name. She was 26 years old, and she was a social media star.
Yeah,
from
she had a nickname, like the Kim Kardashian of Pakistan.
Of Pakistan, that's right. And she was hugely popular. She had over 750,000 Facebook followers before her passing. And she was what you would consider a daring social media star. She challenged the conservative norms of Pakistan. That's a very conservative country. She posted provocative photos online. She wrote about feminism online. I think she considered herself to be a modern day feminist.
Yeah.
That was a quote from her. But this is according to Pakistani newspaper Dawn. So Mohammed Wasim, that's her brother. He was convicted, and 5 other people were acquitted, suspected accomplices in the crime. But he has now been sentenced to life in prison, thanks to a change in law.
I think we have to go over this definition of honor killing and what that means.
All right, so after she was killed, if the family members, and again, this was her brother who committed this crime, if the family of the person who was murdered said, we forgive
the killer,
then the killer would have been allowed to go free. But Pakistan's parliament, they have changed those laws, and now the penalties for honor killings have changed a lot. International backlash is what caused this. The international community pressured lawmakers to make changes, and now killers can be spared the death penalty, but there is a mandatory 25-year prison sentence. So honor killing is no longer something that you can get away with.
And what's interesting about this story for me was that she was killed by her own brother because she was this social media star. But the law changed also because of her presence on social media. And so many people voiced their opposition to the law in Pakistan after she was killed.
You're absolutely right. And Pakistan is not the only country where this happens. There are other parts of the Middle East and Southeast Asia where honor killings happen. But the International Humanist and Ethical Union, they have said that honor killings are rarely investigated. They often go unpunished. And I think the international community often doesn't know about these things. But because of this girl's popularity, Kandil Baloch's popularity, the international community knew about her.
Yeah, exactly.
They were aware of it, and we have to see this as a silver lining, don't we?
Right.
That those changes were made.
네. 자, 일단은 명예살인이라는 표현부터 간단하게 살펴보면은 집안의 명예를 더럽혔다는 이유로 누군가를 살인하게 되면 그게 정당하다라는 게 이제 파키스탄의 명예살인이라는 것이었는데요. 이게 3년 전에 이 소셜미디어 스타가 친오빠로부터 살해가 되면서 이 법이 좀 바뀌었습니다. 그래서 이제 그때부터는 집안에서 명예를 위해서 살인을 했으니 우리가 용서해준다라는 얘기를 하지 못하게끔 법이 개정이 됐다고 해요. 근데 가족에서는 계속 친아들이 친딸을 죽인 것에 대해서 우린 아들을 용서한다라고 해서 아들이 그동안은 무죄 판결을 받았었지만 이번에는 법이 바뀜에 따라서 3년 만에 이렇게 종신형을 받았다라는 얘기가 되겠습니다.
The family in this case, they said they forgave
Yeah,
him,
they
right?
still forgive him.
Yeah, so if the law had not been changed,
Yeah.
he would have been allowed to go free.
맞아요. 바로 지난달에도 부모가 다시 한번 우리는 우리 아들을 용서한다. 우리 아들이 우리 딸을 죽인 것에 대해서 우린 괜찮다라고 부모가 말을 했지만 법이 바뀌었기 때문에 이것이 기각이 됐습니다. 그럼에도 불구하고 이 오빠인 살인을 한 이 장본인은 이것은 정당하지 않다. 우리 파키스탄의 어떤 사회적인 풍토와 맞지 않다라고 계속해서 주장을 하고 있다고 합니다. It looks like he's going to appeal. So we'll see what happens.
It's interesting, you know, when we think about other cultures from around the world. And just when the show started today, I was making the point of, let's look at how similar we are. But sometimes we have to remember how different we are. And sometimes we can look at those differences and say, well, we can accept those differences because it's a different part of the world.
Right.
Sometimes we look at those differences and we say, no, something has to change. And in this case, something has changed.
그러게요. 네. 그럼에도 불구하고 이제 항소를 할 거라는 소식도 조심스럽게 들어오고 있네요. Let's go on to our next story, our final story, in fact.
It's baseball. You want to
Yay.
you want to handle this one? I'll just take a few sips on my coffee. You can explain everything about this baseball
You're mean,
story.
Steve.
Korean baseball player Ryu Hyun-jin has become the first Asian player to finish a season with a 2.32 ERA.
류현진 선수가 아시아 투수 최초로 평균 자책점 1위라는 새 역사를 썼습니다.
Now we all know who Ryu Hyun-jin is,
Of
right?
course.
Yeah, the Dodgers. And I think the Dodgers they're definitely going to the playoffs,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure if they had a chance to finish with their highest win total ever.
Yeah.
So the team was really, really good this year. And part of the reason for that was because of Ryu Hyun-jin. He had an amazing year. He won 14 games and he won the ERA competition, 2.32, the lowest in all of baseball.
Wow, that's amazing. And I understand he's in the running for this Cy Young.
Cy Young, yeah, that's
Award?
right. So Cy Young is an old baseball player, not anymore. But the Cy Young Award is given to Major League Baseball's best pitcher in the American League. So they have an American League Cy Young winner and a National League Cy Young winner.
Okay.
Ryu Hyun-jin, he plays for the Dodgers, so that's in the National League. So yeah, he could win this. He had such an amazing year. Really, really impressive for Ryu Hyun-jin. 2.32 ERA, by the way, stands for earned run average.
Right.
And just to give you a context in case you're not a baseball fan, an average pitcher will have an ERA of around 4 maybe.
Okay,
wow. A good pitcher will have an ERA of around 3 point something something, but a great pitcher 2 point something something, and
Wow.
2.32 is at the lower end of that 2,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
not 2.99, it's 2.32. And what that means is the number of runs or points, if you will, that the other team gets against him on an average game, in an average game.
네, 평균 자책점 ERA라고 하죠. 기존에 2.41에서 이번에 2.32로 평균이 더 낮아져서 전체 내셔널 리그 1위를 했다는 아주 반가운 소식입니다.
I love chatting baseball with Sue. Every response is, 네.
Yes. Let's wrap things up there. Steve, what do you think?
We shall, yeah.
Right.
Keep your eyes peeled for the baseball playoffs because
Yeah.
the Dodgers are going and Ryu Hyun-jin will be a big part of their success. If they,
I promise I will master baseball one day.
I'll get you there someday. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, what's the quiz?
Quiz question today. The relationship between two countries can also be referred to as bilateral blank. Is it number 1, bilateral ties, or number 2, bilateral BFFs?
What does BFF stand for?
Best friend forever.
Ah, that's very nice. Countries could be best friends forever, perhaps. I don't know. 자, 이렇게 두 나라 간의 어떤 이제 교류라든지 그런 것들을 영어로 어떻게 표현을 하면 될까요? 뭐 수교라는 뜻도 있고요. bilateral ties인지 bilateral BFFs인지 골라주시면 되겠습니다. 계속해서 정답 보내주시고요. 총 5분께 추첨을 통해서 고칼슘 살룬 아니죠. 네. 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 보내드리도록 하겠습니다. Alright, we're going to take a short song break and when we come back, we'll look at News Focus 1 and 2. Here's Queen, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Now, let's look at our first News Focus story. 자, 첫 번째 News Focus 살펴보겠습니다. 이번 달 대만의 남태평양 우방이었던 솔로몬 제도와 키라바시 공화국이 중국과 수교하고 대만과 단교를 선언했는데요. 태평양의 또 다른 대만 우방국인 팔라우와 나우루는 우리는 영원한 대만 우방이라며 변함없는 지지를 표명했습니다. Let's listen to the story.
Taiwanese Foreign Minister Joseph Wu has expressed gratitude to the presidents of Nauru and Palau, Lionel Inimia and Tommy Reminisau Jr. for speaking up for the country at the 74th General Assembly of the United Nations in New York. Inimia urged the UN September 26 to accept Taiwan as a willing and capable partner that he said can help achieve sustainable development goals. Reminisau also urged the UN not to exclude Taiwan and its 23 million people in terms of universal health care. And I chose a story with the people who have the two hardest names in the world. Speaking of name changes, can I speak with the leaders of Nauru and Palau, please?
Maybe just go with the first names. Lionel and Tommy.
I will.
Easy enough.
Listen, when I reread it, that's exactly what we're doing.
네.
Anemia.
자, let me just correct those names as best as I know them. I believe the first name is Lionel Anemia. And the second name, Tommy Remengesau.
Remengesau.
All right. So,
Anemia and Remengesau.
There you go. So we're looking at two countries that have pledged allegiance to Taiwan.
Yeah. We've seen in the movies, maybe American films, I pledge allegiance to the flag. And when you are pledging your allegiance, pledge means super promise, right? And allegiance is coming from the word ally, means I will partner with you, I will support you, I will be with you until the end.
뭐 기사에 있는 표현은 아니지만 제가 뭐 이해를 돕기 위해서 충성을 맹세한다라는 뜻의 pledge allegiance라는 표현을 한번 써봤고요. 여기서 보면은 they spoke up for the country. That would be Taiwan.
Yeah, if you speak up for someone or something, it means that you are speaking in support of that thing. But it can also mean that your voice is too low and people cannot hear you. For example, your teacher may say to you in the class, if the teacher asks, what is the answer 4 plus 2? And you say, 6. And the teacher says, speak up. I can't hear you. That means raise your voice.
그렇죠. 더 크게 말하라는 뜻도 있고요. 여기선 speak up for Taiwan, 대만 지지한다는 의사를 분명히 밝혔다라는 뜻입니다. Now, Anemia urged the UN on September 26 to accept Taiwan as a willing and capable partner.
Yes, willing means that you will do something. How do you explain that better? It means that you want to, right? And you will do it. So if you ask me, Steve, can you help me move this weekend? Are you willing to help me move? I can say, yeah, I'm willing to do that. It means that I want to and I am going to do it.
Right. What about capable?
Capable means that you are able of doing something. So if you ask me, Steve, after Morning Special, can you host a Chinese show? I say, no, I'm sorry. First of all, I'm not willing. And second of all, I'm not capable.
아하, willing 그러면 뭔가 할 의지가 있는 것이고요. capable은 할 어떤 잠재력이라든지 그런 능력이 있다라는 뜻인데 사실 여기서는 이제 우방국이라는 여러 가지 표현들을 이렇게 한 것 같습니다. Also, Remengesau urged the UN not to exclude Taiwan and its 23 million people in terms of universal health care.
Yeah, in terms of means when speaking about, right? So, for example, Steve, how was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Well, in terms of the acting, it was great. In terms of the plot, it was also great. So, in terms of means when I'm speaking about the acting, when I'm speaking about the plot, they were both great. And in this case, they're talking about universal healthcare.
네. In terms of 그러면은 무엇에 관해서, 무엇과 관련하여 라는 뜻이고요. Universal healthcare. 그러니까 모두가 이제 건강 보험을 그런 혜택을 받는 것을 얘기하는 것 같습니다. 그런 것에 관해서 Remengesau는 타이완 그리고 Remengesau의 그 나라죠. 팔라오의 시민들을 외면하지 말아달라 이런 얘기를 유엔에서 했다고 합니다. Okay, and let's go on to our next article. Our next news focus story takes us to Singapore. 자, 싱가포르 경찰이 다른 국가들의 정치적 이슈와 관련한 집회는 불허하겠다는 뜻을 밝혔습니다. 특정 국가를 거론하진 않았지만 17주째 계속되고 있는 홍콩 민주화 시위 사태와 관련이 있는 것으로 보이는데요. Let's listen to the story.
The Singapore police force reported on Saturday that permit for assemblies that advocate political causes of other countries will not be granted. In response to queries about police's approach to calls for an anti-totalitarian rally in Singapore, the police warned that foreigners visiting or living in Singapore will have to abide by the country's laws. The police also stated that action will be taken against those who break the law. This may include termination of visa or work passes.
Right, so last week we talked about the upcoming parade that's going to be held in Beijing, and it's going to mark the founding of their modern government. And there's been a lot of movement in other countries as well, either opposed to it or for it.
Right.
And in Singapore, they're saying these assemblies will not be granted.
Exactly, unless you have a permit for it, or even the permit for these assemblies will not be granted. So granted means given. Okay, so it could be literal or figurative. I think most commonly we use it figuratively. So for example, if I ask you, Sue, do you mind if I go to the washroom during the song break? And you can say, yes, permission granted. Permission granted means you are allowed to do that thing. And granted, in this case, again, means to give someone something literally or figuratively.
By the way, Steve does not need my permission to go to the restroom. Grant, 그러면 허용하다라는 뜻이 있죠. 근데 싱가포르에서는 민주화 시위와 관련해서 얘기를 했는지 아닌지는 잘 모르겠습니다. 그렇지만 이제 집회는 불허하겠다, 허용하지 않겠다라고 했고요. In response to queries about police's approach to calls for an anti-totalitarian rally in Singapore.
Queries is a fancy word for questions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's when you want to know information about something. So if you are writing a formal business letter and your client had asked you about hotels in the city of Seoul, for example, you can say fancily, in response to your query about the hotels, and that means in response to you asking for information about the hotels.
어떤 의문사항, 질문 이런 것들을 통틀어서 queries라고 하는데요. 여기서는 이제 외국에서 오는 싱가포르로 들어가고 있는 foreigners visiting or living in Singapore라고 했는데요. 싱가포르에 거주하거나 방문 중인 사람들이 이런 궁금증을 표현을 했다. 근데 뭐냐면은 police's approach to calls for rallies. These foreigners will have to abide by the country's laws.
Yeah, that's right. Or they might have their work visa taken away. If you have to abide by something, it means you have to follow those rules. So if you are a person who never speeds in your car, you don't cross the street when the crosswalk is red, then you are a person who abides by the laws. You follow the rules.
그렇죠. 법을 잘 따를 때 우리가 abide by the law라고 표현을 합니다. 그러니까 싱가포르의 이런 법을 지켜달라. 그렇지 않으면은 비자를 이제 가지고 외국인들이 거기서 거주를 할 텐데요. 비자가 취소될 수도 있다라는 얘기가 나왔습니다. 외국인들이 이거 질문을 했을 때 만약에 외국인인 우리가 이런 집회에 가면 어떻게 되느냐 그랬더니 이제 비자 취소될 수 있다라는 얘기를 했다는 거고요. A similar expression here is the termination of visa or work passes.
Right? That's right. So to terminate something, well, think about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The Terminator.
The Terminator. That's right. So when you terminate something, you eliminate it. So a termination of a work visa or a work pass means that it is no longer valid. They are taking it away. You could use this word to mean fired as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I've been terminated. It means I've been fired.
맞아요. Termination은 뭔가의 종료라는 뜻이 있거든요. 그래서 여기서는 비자가 취소될 수 있다라는 의미로 쓰였지만 해고하다라는 의미로도 terminate를 쓸 수 있다는 거 참고로 알아두시면 좋겠습니다.
Sentence example. If Steve has to do any more stories about Lionel Anemia or Tommy Remignastow, he may be terminated.
Okay. All right, well, those were our first two news-focused stories. Let's remind our listeners of the quiz.
The relationship between two countries can also be referred to as bilateral blank. Number 1, ties. Number 2, BFFs.
네. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원에 샵 1045로 보내주시고요. 반디 게시판이나 카카오톡 플러스 이용도 가능합니다. 뉴욕타임즈 1개월 구독권 총 5분께 보내드릴게요. We'll be right back after Belinda Carlisle sings Heaven is a Place on Earth. 자, 세 번째 뉴스 포커스 살펴보겠습니다. 영국의 브렉시트를 앞두고 한영 고위급 대화 채널을 새로 설치하기로 했다고 외교부가 밝혔습니다. Let's listen to the story.
Korea and Britain will open a high-level dialogue channel this week to deal with the aftermath of Britain's departure from the European Union. Late last month, the two signed a bilateral free trade agreement to help maintain the continuity of their trade and economic ties. Britain is Korea's 18th largest trading partner and accounts for less than 2% of its overall trade. Korea mainly sells automobiles, ships, and marine facilities to Britain.
We're just about a month away now till the deadline. Brexit will happen at the end of October, and countries around the world, including ours, Korea, are preparing for
That's
that.
right, and that's what the reason for these meetings are, is to deal with the aftermath of England's departure from the European Union, should it happen. We still don't know whether that is going to happen or not. But when we talk about aftermath, it's the things that happen after something negative or something unpleasant, right?
Right.
We talked about these stories of typhoons, and then what happens after these typhoons? A lot of damage to buildings, and people lose their lives, and that's where we'll often see this word aftermath. So many people died in the aftermath of the typhoon, for example.
그렇죠. 후유증 또는 여파라는 뜻의 aftermath가 여기서 쓰였습니다. We always have to be wary of the aftermath of not listening to our crew members outside the studio.
Indeed.
We have to obey and abide by their laws.
Of course.
네, 자, late last month, the two signed a bilateral free trade agreement to help maintain the continuity of their trade and economic ties.
Continuity is something that goes on for a long time without change. So let me give you an example. So let's say we just lost Walter for the news, but let's say that at the end of this week, I have to leave the show. And then 2 weeks later, the new guest has to leave the show, the new news guest. And then again it happens, and then again it happens. There's no continuity in the show, meaning there are so many changes over a short period of time. It's not continuing on for a long time with no changes. So, of course, when you want a radio program, a good radio program or a good class at university, you want some continuity.
Right.
In class, you don't want your teachers changing every month, right?
Right. 그렇죠. 지속성을 뜻하는 continuity, continue의 이제 명사형이라고 보면 되겠습니다. But that example you just gave there, it's not true, is it?
Hope not.
No, of course not. Britain is Korea's 18th largest trading partner, and Korea mainly sells cars, ships, and marine facilities to Britain.
Facilities, right. So it means the buildings, the structures, the things related to, in this case, marine. But we can use this a lot with hotels, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if a hotel has nice rooms and it also has a gym and it has a bunch of nice restaurants and it has tennis courts, well, all of those things, tennis courts, gyms, restaurants, those are all the facilities of the hotel.
그렇죠. 시설을 뜻하는 facilities가 여기서 쓰였습니다. Marine facilities 그러면은 글쎄요, 뭐 해양과 관련된 시설, 그러니까 뭐 조선업과 관련된 것이 될 수도 있겠고요. 여러 가지로 활용할 수 있는 단어 facilities. Okay, well those were our news focus stories. Let's now give out the answer to the quiz.
The relationship between two countries can also be referred to as bilateral blank. Is it number 1, bilateral ties, or number 2, bilateral BFFs? And the answer is number 1, ties.
네, congratulations to our listeners. 함지현님, 최윤영님, 송윤지님, 이예훈님, 그리고 끝번호 0020 쓰시는 분, 뉴욕타임스 1개월 구독권 보내드리겠습니다. 자, Steve 선생님, what is today's expression?
Let's go with abide by.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can use this in everyday English, and if you're a mom or dad at home, you can use this with your kids if they are not following the rules, because that's what abide by means, to follow the rules. So you can say to your kids, listen, as long as you live in my house, you are going to abide by my rules. I may have heard that once or twice or 100,000 times growing
Me too.
up.
네,
Haven't we all?
abide by 그러면 뭔가를 지키다, 뭐뭐에 따라서 행동하다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Steve.
I apologize for my mispronunciations this morning. I will be better tomorrow morning, I
No
promise.
worries. I'll see you next month.
That's right, tomorrow's
Tomorrow.
October. Yeah, right. I thought you were going on vacation for a while. Hey, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Well, coming up in the second hour of Morning Special, we have Say What and also Books with Paul Matthews. Taking us there now is a song by Michelle Chapeau, and I think I need a bit of music to bring me back down to earth. This is Back Down to Earth, and I shall see you in part 2 of the show.